me, and it was really new and it was way outside my comfort zone. And so when I jumped in, I was like, okay, I have to be told like do this, this, and this. Am I echoing?
Yeah, I'm gonna mute.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, that got loud.
Okay.
Sorry, that like freaked me out. Okay, so when I first got started, I was like, okay, I have to know like A, B, and C. Like I'm that person where I have to have like a list of things that I have to accomplish, or I'm going to be all over the place and I'm not going to know what I'm supposed to be doing, right? Because I had no experience. So how am I supposed to jump into a business I know nothing about, right? So I know that there's a few things that Ashley wants to touch on too. So I don't want to like get too far into like what we're going to talk about. Ash, do you want to kind of touch on like where, like what your vision or what your mindset was like when you started, just briefly?
Yeah. Really. When I started actually as a loyal customer. And so the only products I ever tried were triple threat. I never deviated from those products. So I really had no experience in the business. I had no experience with the products. I had done no research on the ones I was using. I was told that I could lose weight. So I'm like, okay, I'm taking it. So really I had no idea about, multi-level marketing or anything like that. And I just decided to jump in both feet first, and ask questions later. So that's my story. I don't know.
No, I love that. So I wanted you to say that because I think both of us were really similar when we both started. Yeah. I started as a customer too, for those of you that don't know that. I actually found Erin on Instagram and I became a loyal customer. I watched her for 2 days and then I became a distributor. So it wasn't that I really had never thought about being a distributor. I just like wanted what she had. And so that's why I jumped in. But like Ashley, I had never used the products. I had never heard of It Works. I knew nothing about the company. And so I feel like there could be a lot of you on here tonight who may be brand new, or you may be like, a month in or so, and you might be feeling that same way. Like, oh my gosh, I know nothing about the products. I know nothing about this business. It's okay. Honestly, I'm shocked when people join this business who've heard about the company or have used the products in the past, because a lot of the people that I talk to or bring into this business have never heard of the company or have never been a part of network marketing or have never used our products ever. And I just think that's so crazy to like, I just think that's crazy. So anyways, I just think that I wanted to point that out because I think that that's a good thing to point out, because I feel like there could be a lot of you on here tonight who may be feeling that way, and it's okay to not know those things. That is part of learning in this business. It's just like any other job or, whatever that you're going to go, like if you got a new job and they just called you and said, hey, you got the job. You need to be here tomorrow for orientation. Guess what's going to happen? You're going to have to sit in an orientation and you're going to have to learn about your job. You're going to have to learn about all the things that you're going to have to do, the tasks that you're going to have. Maybe you're at retail. You're going to have to know where all the different, clothing sections are, whatever. There's going to be things that you're going to have to learn. And that's exactly how this business should be looked at as a business, okay? Because it's no different. So one of the first things that I wanted to talk about was kind of what it looks like for me. Okay, so when I started, the first couple things that I was taught was A, B, and C. And that is you need to be, if you want to work social media, you need to be posting on social media every single day and you have to be consistent. That was the first thing. The second thing was you need to be adding to your network every single day. And the third thing was you have to be reaching out to people. Okay, I heard these three things and I was like, okay, I never post on social media, so that's going to be really hard for me. The second thing was I have to add to my network. I had 0 friends and I was not outgoing. I was super shy. And so I was like, how in the heck am I going to be as successful at this business? Because I'm not going to have anybody to add to my network. And it's going to be so terrifying for me to start adding people that I don't know. Okay. Those are the thoughts that went through my mind. The third thing was, oh my God, I have to reach out to people. Like what? I'm so scared. Like I can't talk to people. You guys, I was literally so shy. Like this would never have happened. Okay. So when I first got started, I heard these 3 things and I was like, okay, this is going to be really hard for me. But guess what? If you want to be successful in this business, you have to be willing to get uncomfortable, because if you're not willing to get uncomfortable, you will not see success. And that is just me being point blank honest with you. You have to be willing to get uncomfortable. Some things are going to be hard and they're going to be tricky and they're going to be scary, but I promise you that you are going to grow so much in the process and you're going to learn so much about yourself and the success that you have along with it. Okay. So we all have those thoughts when we first get started with something like this, especially if you're new and you've never had experience with a business like this before. So the biggest tip that I can give you guys is consistency, because it's so important in this business to be consistent. If you're going to work social media as your main platform for growing your business, that's what I do. Or maybe you're going to do parties, or maybe you're going to do, face-to-face, like blitzing, or, meeting people that way. Whatever you choose, or whether it's all three, you have to be consistent with whatever you do. That is the biggest thing that can hurt you within this business and depict whether or not you're successful or not, or how fast or how slow you get there. So I kind of want to touch on a few things that I do with my new distributors, but Ash, I kind of want to bounce back and forth. Do you have anything that you want to talk about before I get into that? Because I knew there were some things you wanted to mention. Wait, I can't hear you.
She's okay. Gotcha.
I just wanted to share something that I use with some of my new girls, because I know Cassie was talking about posting and how important it is and to be consistent. And you guys, it's so super important, because what is the first thing that people are going to do when you message them? Mm-hmm. They're going to look at your profile. They're going to see who you are. So if you're not being consistent in your post, and there's not a day that goes by that I don't post. I think the only day that ever that happened in the year that I have been doing this was the anniversary of my brother's death. And that was a conscious decision that I made not to post that day. I had to waver between that, because posting is your business. So if you're doing social media. So a tip that I give that helps is, when I first started, it was so super overwhelming for me to have to post 6 times a day. And not only post 6 times a day, but have to come up with creative posts that made me look like I was fun. Okay, because I'm not fun. So what I did is I found leaders, which you guys should have. You can go to your upline or in the beginner's boot camp. You'll have a list of leaders. You need to follow every single leader, but not only do that, find a leader that you resonate with, that like you think is kick-ass and that you would want to be, friends with outside of this business. For me, it was Cassie and Savannah Fletcher when I first started. So, I followed them every single day and watched what they posted. So every time they posted, I posted. Every category that they posted, I posted. So if they did a product post, a before and after, then I would do a before and after. And I would do it at the same time so it wasn't so overwhelming. Okay, my son pooped. So, that's something that I've found that has helped, especially with new girls getting started and kind of knowing what to post and what kind of post and what times of day to post. Pick that leader that you think is awesome and do exactly as they do. Don't reinvent the wheel. So that's all I say.
Okay, there's one more thing. There's one more massive tip that I want you guys to share. And it's something that I feel like almost every single distributor goes through their first couple weeks. And I want you guys to talk about how you handled the word no, and how you handled criticism and hate and, all of this negative stuff towards it, multi-level marketing, or just it works in general, and how to overcome that, and how to, start being positive and, put positivity into your business.
Well, I tell my girls this business is a personal business, in that, you want to be building those relationships, but it's not personal. So you want to build the relationships, but if you get those no's, if you get the hatred, haters are going to hate. And the more you succeed, the more hatred's going to come out, and that's okay. But you just can't take it personal, because I'll tell you this, if I took every single no that I've gotten, or every single ignore, every single unfriend, this is just an example, I just got engaged in April. We're getting married in Vegas, so it's not like it's like a super expensive wedding, but we're about to pay off our wedding in cash just from It Works. So if I had let every no get me down and took it personally, instead of use it as motivation, which I know Kelsey is awesome with that. Like every no she gets, she laughs and she's like, okay, I'll just get you, I'll get you eventually, whatever. And she moves on. So I just think that's the attitude that you have to have. It's a personal business, but it's not personal. You can't take it that way. So
I so totally agree with that.
Okay, so we're talking no's, right? Are we also talking negativity?
Yes, we got to keep it out of our businesses. And I feel like a lot of people need to hear this as new people in the business.
Okay. So when I joined, I, like I said, had no friends when I joined this business. So I didn't really, and I really wasn't active on social media. So I didn't really ever post or anything. I was that person that really just aimlessly and mindlessly kind of scrolled through social media, like on my way to work, on my break. Like I wasn't even like doing anything on social media. I would just sit there and like look at other people's lives and business for no reason whatsoever. And so, you know, I didn't ever really have, I would say, like a lot of negativity on my page when I started because I didn't have a very big following. I didn't have a lot of people that were like watching my page because I'd never been active on social media before. I think I had a few, and they were guys from like high school when I would make some posts and they would comment or they would make posts on their page. Like we all have those people that will like make posts on their page and they're like, these It Works people or these network marketing people are so dumb, blah, 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 blah. And like, you know what? At the end of the day, you can do two things. You can either take it personal, you can let it slow you down, and you can let it hold you back. Or you can ignore it, you can block it, you can remove it from your focus and move on. Okay, those are the two things that you can do. And I always chose to move on because guess what? At the end of the day, all it's going to do is hurt my feelings because I'm super yellow, and it's going to hold me back from continuing to move forward. That's all it does. So, you know, if people are going to be negative towards you, especially if they're friends or their family, then, you know, if they're friends, I don't want to talk about family, but if they're friends, they may not really be as good of friends as you think they are. Because, you know, somebody that's your friend that's going to be negative or make comments like that, they should be believing in you. They should be pushing you towards anything that you do in life and any decision that you make. They shouldn't be trying to hold you back from it or make fun of you for doing something that's trying to help you be better and help your future, right? That's just how I feel. And I feel like a lot of people would agree with that. But, you know, sometimes the people that make those comments, a lot of the times, to be honest, are, you know, really, I feel like kind of jealous. And I feel that way because I feel like maybe sometimes they're upset with the place that they're in life. And they're kind of like jealous to some extent that you're out there trying to do something to better your life that they're too afraid to do. That's just kind of how I've always looked at it, whether it's true or not, or whether they'll ever admit it. I feel like that's kind of the reason sometimes. And 99% of the time, you guys, the people that are the most negative, when you're consistent and you start kicking ass and you start showing that success, they're going to come back asking you questions, asking how they can join you. I promise. Mm-hmm. I promise. Mark my words, okay? Mark my words, because I promise they will do that. So, you know, when I first got started, I just have to tell this story really, really quick. Okay, I'm at Tyler's family's house. And when I first started this business, we were, hold on a second. Okay, sorry. I had to check and make sure nobody was here. So when I first started this business, we used to live in Houston, which is where we're at right now. And we would come over to Tyler's family's house a lot when we lived here. And I remember when I first got started and I made my first video on Facebook and I posted it, and I was so nervous and I was so scared because I'd never put myself out there like that. And I was so nervous that people were going to judge me for making a video. And I was crying in the video, the first video I ever made. Oh, shocker, right? So we came over to Tyler's dad's house. And we were watching a football game, and a bunch of his neighbors were over here, and they were all like, you know, literally there was probably 15 people in the living room, which is why I just went out there to make sure nobody was here. So I remember when I first made this video, I just posted it. We walked in the door, we sat down to like cook out and watch the football game. And somebody in his family pulled out his phone and started scrolling through social media and saw my video, pulled it up, and started making fun of me in front of everyone. It was amazing. I was so upset, and I was like, you've got to be joking. Like, are you really making fun of me right now? Like, really? Okay, so we're going to go there. So I could have done that. I could have been really upset. I could have let it bother me, and I could have stopped, but I didn't. I got so mad, you guys. I got so mad that I was like, I'm about to prove your butt wrong. Watch me. And guess what? Now that doesn't happen, okay? So now it's a lot different. But when I started, that was the main thing I dealt with, was family. Whether it be his or whether it be mine. There was a lot of doubt. There was a lot of, comments. And those were things that just fueled me, because I knew deep down that I had been led to this business for a reason, and I had seen success for a reason. And I wasn't about to let a stupid comment hold me back from being successful, because I knew what I could accomplish with this business. So if you have those, those negative comments, or, moving on to when people say no, if people tell you that they're interested, okay, I feel like there's two different types of no's. There's a not right now, no maybe later, or there's a absolute no, okay? And even the people that say absolutely no, I still follow up with them. And I may not follow up with them as often as the people who say not right now, maybe later, but I follow up with them still, because guess what? Eventually, after they've watched you, if you're consistent, I promise they may come around, and they may not want to be a distributor, but they may want to try product from you. You just have no idea. You never know who could need this business. And we always have that saying of, every 7 or 9 months, people have a serious life change, and they could change their mind. They could be going through health problems and they need something that you have to offer. Or maybe they could be going through something financially and they need the extra income. You never know what people are going through, whether they want to tell you or not. So something can always change. So those are the people that I always continue to reach out to. And the people that tell you no, not right now, or no, maybe later, they're always going to be interested. Whether it's not right now, I promise they're always going to be interested. So you have to follow up with them. Regardless, you guys, there's people in my phone that I followed up with for 2 years, every single month, who still don't reply to me, but I continue to message them. And some of y'all might think I'm crazy, but I promise they still like my stuff on Facebook, and they're still watching. And I know eventually they're going to want to join, whether it's through the products or through the business, vice versa, whichever way it is. I know that it's eventually going to happen. So don't let negativity or a no stop you or hold you back, because I promise you eventually, that's going to be a seed that is going to grow, and it's going to, grow into something amazing. So anyways, that's all I have to say about that. So was there another question we need to answer, or do we need
I think we're good. We have to move on. But Cassie, thank you. And Ashley, thank you so much for hopping on and talking about just, negativity and what your 1 through 3 days looks like, getting your mind right, making sure you're setting yourself up for success. So thank you guys so much for hopping on and sharing some tips for us.
Of course.
Okay, Rachel, I have to find you down here. Okay, unmute. Hi, Rachel, can you hear me?
Hi, yes.
Okay, I am so excited because we have new presidential diamond, Rachel Jones, on here, and she is about to shed some light on how we create our 100s list. So you guys, I'm sure if you're brand new, you've seen create your list, create your 30s list, create your 100s list. And, I am so excited to have Rachel on here to talk to us about how you create it and how you network and how you reach out into other markets and, build your business. So Rachel, what are you doing every single day to build your network?
Okay, so I got really scared when Cassie started talking about it, because I was like, wait, no, I really want to talk about it. Flag me in kind of thing. So I love talking about just networking and expanding your network and just reaching out to people, because that's such a major part of this business. And so I always say, in my newbie trainings, I really do feel like there's two things that I did the reason why I was able to go diamond in 3 months, and that was just sharing every little bit of success, which is a whole different thing, and then expanding my network, because you're only as big as your network. And so when you get started, I'm assuming that all your guys' leaders, for the most part, if they've never told you, we're telling you now, you should have a 100s list, and you should just start filling it out. So I have mine right here. I don't update it a lot, but it's just the point of having one, and mine's actually a 200s list. And I have 5 of those. So I feel like everybody gets in their own head of who do I put on there? I don't even know, what does this mean? And it's a little bit scary, I feel like. And so I just would advise you guys to start off with, your warm market, the people that you're closest to, and then the people that just pop into your head. So start with 30 people, in order. You would tell when you're pregnant, or when you found out you're pregnant, or some huge life thing that happened to you. Who are the first people you'd think to tell? And then just start thinking like what I did is I just started. It was hard for me, And I understand that some of you guys might be like, I don't even know how the heck I'd even fill out a hundreds list. Like I could maybe get to like 20. I totally understand what you're talking about because I got pregnant when I was in college. I was 20 years old. I wrote off everybody that wasn't pregnant because I was a little bit spiteful, but I also was just like, I'm on a different page than them. So I had only 300 Facebook friends and I didn't even talk to half of them. It was me and Zach. He was my best friend and my only friend. And so I understand that some of you guys might be like, this doesn't even apply to me because I just can't even fill one out. I get that. But I just started, going through my Facebook and just starting to think of like old connections or whatever it was. And I just started filling it out. But there comes a point where you're only as big as your network. So like I said, I only had about 300 Facebook friends when I joined. So I went to my husband's Facebook and I added all the females on his because he worked in a different town. He was a manager at a call center. So he had like a new team all the time. So I added all the females on his. I went to my best friends that still have never joined the business. I started adding all their girlfriends. I went to my sister's Facebook and I just started expanding my network. And then that was also reconnecting me with people like, oh, I was a freshman in high school with that girl or whatever. And I just started putting people down. There came to a point in my hundreds list where I put people down that I had never spoken to before, but I wanted them for some reason. I wanted them. So it doesn't just have to be people that you have once been friends with or whatever it is. Just fill it out and then just have that mindset of like, I'm not going to stop until that whole thing's highlighted. This one isn't even a good example, but like my one from last year, I think I threw it away. But it was like all highlighted but a couple. And that was such a good feeling because I worked on that list like all year long. So it's just so important that when you join, you're doing like your first 3 days are really important, like Cassie and Ashley talked about, but then you're getting that hundreds list done as soon as possible so that you can start marking it off as you confront the business or start interacting with them, however you do it. And just don't be afraid to expand your network. I don't even know if that's like a big part of what I'm supposed to talk about, but that's so crucial to me, so crucial because I just think about where I would be in the business if I only had those 300 Facebook friends, or maybe I got up to 500, whatever it is. And I'm just like, I clearly would not be a presidential diamond because more than 85% of my team and my customers are just strangers on Facebook that we connected through somehow. So just don't be afraid of that and just don't limit yourself to that little number, that little Facebook number. Because I know that there's got to be at least one person on here that has at least 300 friends like I did. And I'm not trying to like burst your bubble, but that's really not crap. So it's just time to start doing that and just doing it every single day. That's one thing that I never changed in the past 3 years is I'm always expanding my network. I mean, I might be doing like 5 a day now opposed to like hundreds all the time in the beginning. But that's just so crucial to your business, that and in your hundreds list and always having that with you and always talking to those people.
Right. Totally. So one thing, a big thing I feel like is like adding quality people. And let's go back to like when you were going Ruby. I remember you pulled up a post the other day, and obviously these people who are brand new don't know, but you pulled up a post and you were like, I've got to get to Ruby. I'm almost to executive. I need one more distributor. Like, so how, going back to the mindset of, being brand new, how were you like reaching out to find quality people and people that you knew would be good at this business? Because I feel like so many people struggle with, I don't even know who to ask. And so that I would love to hear from you, like what your mindset was finding quality people.
Yeah. So I'm going to before I started finding quality people, I'm not going to lie. I did start off with the mindset of trying to fill boxes because I was like just excited and I wanted to promote fast. And so I did have a really crappy mindset in the beginning. I was trying to fill boxes. I do feel like for a little time period, like a little short period of time, I was targeting people that I knew I could get, even though like a little voice in my head was like, no, Rachel, no, like don't do it. But like people that I could seal the deal with. And I mean, it did hurt me in the long run. Like my diamond chart, I don't think I have anybody on my team except for one person that was with me when I went diamond. But when I started looking for like people that would find the vision like me, because I think it's kind of rare, I would say, maybe not rare, but I kind of feel like it's a little abnormal for people to jump in and to be a lifer like automatically and see the vision and know like they're worthy of $40,000 a month. I mean, I think it comes with time, but like, I don't know. I jumped in knowing what I had my hands on. It was really overwhelming and I didn't know everything, but I knew that I was going to be in it for the long haul. So I started just trying to look for people that I thought that would be like me. And I just, I started looking, I just really just got crazy with, looking at how many friends they have, creeping on their profile pictures to see how many likes they have. Now, don't get me wrong. I have signed people that I kind of prejudged because, again, I know I'm not the only one that's accidentally done that. It's hard not to sometimes. Sometimes you see someone that has five Facebook likes and you're like, would they be good? And they've completely like proved me wrong. So that's not like a make it or break it for me, but I just try to like really, really take my time. And that's the biggest lesson I've learned is like not just jumping on every person that I think I could sign, because sometimes those aren't always the best people, and just taking the time. If it's someone that I'm like, this person could be a me or could be someone that would rock in this business, I'm going to take the time and I'm going to interact with them, and I'm just going to like make my presence known. I mean, I've really, really taken a break on cold messaging to the sense of like messaging them before I've ever interacted. Now I like to make my presence known, but like, I think I finally got over myself to where if it was someone that I thought was just beautiful and would do good, whatever, I get out of my own head and I just message them. Like I've already interacted with them or whatever, and maybe they haven't interacted back, and I'm just gonna be straight to the point and just say, girl, like I just want to be best friends, or like I'm obsessed with you. I think that you would do so good at what I do. Or voice messaging. Okay, here's something really quick. I think, and maybe I'm the only one that's crazy like this, but I, for the longest time, was so scared of someone screenshotting me and then putting me on blast, which like for cold messaging or messaging someone that ignored me and then messaging them again. I was so scared because I've seen that before. People saying like, this annoying it works person, whatever. And then it happened to me. And then it freaking happened to me 2 weeks ago. Someone screenshotted me and I messaged them 3 different times. She had interacted with me, so they didn't see that part. And they just said, not today, like this annoying girl. And it was mortifying. I'm not going to lie. That was 3 weeks ago. So I was a presidential diamond, like my mind's right, but that's still embarrassing. So I was like, I kind of had to talk myself like off the ledge for a second, because I was so mad and wanted to step outside of the kingdom for a second. But I was just like, whatever. I just need to like switch up the way I do things. And so I started voice messaging like 100% of the time. I was doing a portion of the time, but if you voice message and someone screenshots you voice messaging them a couple times, no one can see what you say. Like, I'm not embarrassed. If someone were to message me or screenshot me voice messaging on the 1st and voice messaging on the 6th and there's nothing in between, I don't really care because no one knows what I'm saying, you know? So that's something that I started doing. I don't even know I actually just got off on that. But I'm just jumping to the point. If it's someone I really like, I just think we should just, I don't know, not get in our own head and just look for people that are like you. If you're a go-getter and you're going to be in this for the long haul, look for people that you think would do the same, and just don't be afraid to confront them. Just try to do it the right way. I try to like be a little bit funny about it so that it makes me less uncomfortable, because I still get like social anxiety and it makes me uncomfortable. So like if I'm more like, LOL, like let's be best friends, I think you'd kill it at what I do. I don't know. It makes me feel better. I don't even know. I just feel like I got off on 5 different things. Sorry.
No, I love it. That's so true. Voice message is absolutely everything to me. So I know it's intimidating, you guys, but voice message literally changes your business. And when you're creating your 100s list, she like dropped a bunch of truth bombs there. Like, you know, you've got to get out of your comfort zone with that and making sure that you're like reaching into other markets. Thank you so much, Rachel, for hopping on here to give us some amazing tips on how to create your 100s list. I think that's a super important thing when going Ruby. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, Bree Duncan, I'm trying to find you and I cannot find you. Is she on here? Y'all, I'm sorry. I cannot find her. Bree, if you will comment below. Can you tell her to comment because it's not letting me? Okay, but if she will unmute herself, that'd be great. Okay, I'm going to skip to the next panel and then we'll come back to that when I figure out how to do that. Apparently it's a setting on here. Okay, so Taylor, I'm going to be talking to you. Taylor, I don't know why it's not. Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, what's up?
Not too much, just, you know, giving some tips. Okay, so I'm super excited because we're going to be talking about messaging, and this is something that people literally fear the heck out of when they first join. That's one of their biggest fears. So I want to talk with you. Let's go back to when you're going Ruby. I like to do this because, like, obviously we're talking to brand new people, and I want to talk with you about, like, how many people were you messaging in the beginning? Like, what were you saying as a first initial message?
Okay, so I've like came across people that I messaged when I first started, and it is like horrendous. It's awful. It's lengthy. It's spammy. It's terrible. I had no idea what I was doing when I got started. So I'm not going to tell you tips on what I was messaging, but I don't even know how it worked, but it did. But I am going to tell you tips on how you should be messaging and doing it the right way. Okay. So really hit on your warm market when you're getting started. One thing I didn't do is I didn't talk to my friends. I didn't talk to my family because I was scared of them judging me. I was scared of them telling me no. And later on, down the line, they all, got started on the products and loved them. And I wish I would have just reached out to them from the beginning. So, talk to your friends and family, people that you love and people that love you and support you, because they're going to support you if you ask them. You just have to ask. If you're not asking people, the answer is always no. So don't be scared to reach out to people that and, your friends and your family. And when you're talking to them, just be so excited. I think your excitement and in your voice, if you call them on the phone and you make it more personal, they're gonna want to support you. So when I started, I was told to do the ABC challenge on Facebook. So I literally went through my Facebook friends list and I started with the letter A, and I would do like 4 letters a day. Like I was messaging like a crazy machine when I got started. My upline Ashley was like, look, you got to get your first 4 loyals in like 24 hours. Like, let's go. So I started with the A and did a couple letters every day and just went through and messaged people. And the things that, don't say it works in your first message. Just don't even do it. Okay. Just be excited and say like, hey girl, like I know this is super random, but I came across your page on my feed and I have an opportunity, I think you might be interested in. And leave it at that. Leave it super simple. And people are going to be curious to what it is you're talking about. When they hear the word opportunity, most people's ears, they perk up, their eyes light up, and they're curious. So keep it super simple and short when you're messaging people. And don't be afraid to message people that you don't know or the people that you haven't talked to in a long time. Like it's great to form new connections. That's what this business is about. And so for Instagram, I know a lot of people have followers that you don't know. Like that's the beautiful thing of Instagram. You're always gaining new followers and wanting new followers of people you know and don't know. So message those new people, message people you don't know, and just be excited.
Okay. That's amazing. I love that. Just being super simple. So Taylor, this is like, a personal preference in your business. Rachel just said, I don't cold message because she used to, but now she's doing voice messages. But do you cold message? And did you cold message when you were going Ruby, and did it work?
I always have interacted first. I'll follow someone new or, I'll go to someone's Facebook page, like a few pictures, I'll comment, then I will message them right after. So at least they will have seen my name in their notifications and, they're going to see my message and, they're going to already have thought about me in their mind because they've seen me on their notifications.
I think that's such a good idea. That's a super good idea, especially when you're brand new. You don't know how many people are doing it around you. You don't really know what you're doing. So just making sure that you create a relationship first, incredible. So let's talk about follow-up. How many times do you follow up with somebody, and what is your follow-up message? I mean, I know it differs with distributors and loyal customers, but what, in a nutshell, are you saying in a follow-up?
I always create urgency. Obviously people don't know that we have unlimited loyal customer spots, and that's okay. They don't have to know that. But I always, I'll follow up with someone and say, hey girl, like I just signed a hair, skin, and nail loyal, and I only have 2 spots left. Like, are you wanting to get on this 90-day challenge? I always, give them a spot number, a limit, and I tell them, I'm placing orders today. Let's get you set up. I'm so excited to see your results. Like, are you going to be my hair model? And I always every time I talk to people, I'm always introducing the product, like loyal customer program, as either being a product reviewer or a product model. I don't really use product tester because I just think it sounds like these products need tested and no one knows if they work. I don't like product tester. I used to use that, but I don't like that anymore. So I say product model or product review. So
that's incredible. Okay. If you could go back to when you went Ruby, and I know I literally cringe when I think about the messages that I sent out when I was going Ruby, y'all, because it was a book, really. Yep. And so if you could change anything, and, you know, give yourself a tip when you were going Ruby, what would it be?
I wish I would have expanded my market. I was not adding to my market daily. I was literally just reaching out to people that were on my friends list and reaching out to people I had already been following. And I was not adding to my market daily and talking to new people. And I feel like if I would have been talking to new people and talking to people I already knew, I probably could have went Ruby in half the time, because it just, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I love that.
That's a huge point of this business.
Yeah, don't find too much comfort in your warm market. You got to reach out there. Thank you so much, Taylor, for sharing some tips about messaging. That is amazing. Okay, so Bree, I found you. I'm going to unmute you now. I'm so sorry, I didn't realize. Okay, Bree, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I'm super excited because I think this is one of the most important things. And my tip personally, if I could go back and tell myself one thing, it would be, please pour into yourself. You know, give yourself some personal development before you try to go run the world, you know? So when we talk about finding your why you do this business, it is so important. And I want to know, like, what did you do to find your why and keep it close to you when you first joined?
Well, mine was so specific, and honestly, it was such an easy why because it was my daughter. You know, when I joined, I was 7 weeks pregnant. And so I literally joined so that I could be a stay-at-home mom. And it's just so important for even finding your own why and asking your potentials and your distributors what their whys are. Make sure that's the first thing that you ask them, because it's just so important to know why people are wanting to join this business. Because, you know, sometimes people forget and they think like, well, you know, doubt conquers everything whenever you're thinking about doing something outside of the box. And so it's just so important to remind people why they were at one point wanting to join this business, because 9 times out of 10, they still want to do it. They're just scared. And so you just kind of have to give them that extra push as to why they want to join. And so my why personally, you know, was my daughter, and I was 7 weeks pregnant and had lost my job when I joined. So it was such a strong why. And I remember, you know, I was about 2 months into the business, and I just, for whatever reason, I wasn't doing everything that I knew I wasn't doing everything that I should have been doing to grow. And I remember texting Cassie. I was laying in bed, and it was like 11:30 at night. And I remember texting Cassie, like bawling, because I was pregnant, and I was like, I just can't give up. Like, this is, you know, and my why is the only thing that pushed me from quitting. Y'all, this is the biggest, your why, I swear, is the biggest thing, because had it not been for Blair and for me having that strong why, I wouldn't be here right now. And so that's just so, so important. And always constantly remind yourself, because in a business like this, it doesn't matter how high you up, you have to constantly remind yourself why you're doing it. And your why should always grow with you. You know, my why was obviously Blair, and it still is, but at the same time, I've done what I needed to do to stay home with her. And so I'm past that point now, and my why has grown with me. So now, you know, my why has changed. It's obviously to stay home with her, but it's also to help other moms and other families go home to their babies. And it's to help other people, you know, just figure out everything. I mean, I'm sorry, I just read her comment and I lost it. But anyways, it's to help other people, you know, find their own whys and help them, you know, just, you know, I can't think of the word that I'm trying to say, but it's just to help everybody that I come in contact with figure out their why and work for it, so that they can, you know, they can grow in this business and help other people as well. So obviously it's changing, and it will change as you grow. And, you know, we all know Erin Tweed. I'm going to talk about her for just a second, because y'all, she didn't join because she had, you know, they had infertility, but that came later on. And had it not been for this business, they would not have that precious baby girl on the way right now. And it's just so powerful, you know, hits so close to home, because I have family that has infertility, and it's like, you know, I want to be able to pay for that one day for them. And that's another thing. Like, it's just your why, you honestly, it doesn't matter how far you are into this business. There can be something that comes up one day, and it's going to change everything for you, you know, and things change constantly. And so I just kind of wanted to touch on that for a second, but it's there's going to be so many whys in your journey, and you just have to continually remind yourself of that.
I love that. You know, one thing I do want to add with, you know, finding your why, obviously when we talk about it, we're trying to keep that close to our hearts so that we stay strong in our business and continue to, you know, just excel in this business. You know, we need to continue to keep our whys close. That is what motivates us. That's what puts us every single day trying to be successful as we can be. But one thing I wanted to add was, you know, a key point in getting distributors or having people join your team is to listen. And I know this is kind of like off on the side a little bit, but I wanted to add, like, when you ask them why, it makes them think about why they actually need this business. So when you're thinking about adding people to your team, make sure that you're actually listening to what the reason is that they need this business. If they're interested for a reason. I just wanted to add that. So really, really quick, what would you say, because personal development is so huge, but what do you do as personal development, you know, daily or weekly? What are you doing every single day to pour into yourself and your team?
So right now I'm reading You Are a Badass, and I absolutely love it. That, and then Jump by Steve Harvey was also an amazing book, but I read when I get the chance, but y'all, I have an 8-month-old, so I can't always, you know, read. But another thing is you can listen to the tapes, you know, listen to books in your car when you're driving. And, you know, usually 9 times out of 10 when you're driving, it's no more than 30 minutes, and you don't want to do more than that worth of self-development every day anyways, you know? And so just kind of spread it out. Do 30 minutes of self-development every day, depending on what works for you. But it doesn't have to be hour long or anything like that. Just 10 minutes of it will change your life. And honestly, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I didn't start doing self-development until after I hit Diamond. And it such a key part of my business. And if you're not doing it, I absolutely recommend it, because it is going to push you so much further, and it's going to help you believe in yourself, because that's such a big thing to know, is your self-worth. And pour into yourself so that you can pour into others, because if you're not pouring into yourself, how are you going to pour into your team and, you know, people that are going to be on your team, and how are you going to pour into everybody, you know, if you don't pour into yourself?
I love that. Okay, Kelsey.
Yeah, I just want to add something real quick.
Yeah.
So I'm Kelsey. I am a triple diamond, which you guys will come to find out. Please don't let rank define anything about what you think of yourself as a leader, because just because somebody is a rank does not make them a leader. It's your actions that make you a leader. Okay. So you guys starting, even that person that just started today that's on here, you are a leader, and you will become even more of a leader, and everybody else will look at you like a leader depending on how you act. And so once you start acting like a leader, that's when you become a leader. It doesn't define you by your rank. You know, you might think that we are leaders just because we're sitting up here and we got this privilege to talk to you guys, but that is not what makes us leader. What has made us a leader is the actions that have got us to this point. So I just wanted to start off by saying that. But one thing I did want to just add real quick, because Bree, you did an awesome job on self-development. But one thing that I just want to add is, think of it as this way. And somebody gave me this example, and it was like, it resonated so much with me that I just wanted to share it with you. So when we all start, we are all given the same tools. Okay, so think of it as we're all given this axe, right? And our job is to go cut down this tree. What self-development does is it sharpens your axe. Okay, and so your job is going to be so much easier when you have self-development, because it makes everything else better in your business. And that really just like clicked with me. And so I just wanted to share it with you, because at first when I got started, I was the same way as Brie, where I was just like, I don't need self-development. Like, I got a great mindset, blah, blah, blah. And then you catch yourself caring about the no's. You catch yourself caring about what other people are saying. And you catch yourself letting other people's mind influence yours. Okay. And what I want you guys to do right now, I really, really encourage you to do this. Just take 5 seconds. Write down the 5 people that you hang out with the most right now. Just write it down. And I'll give you guys a second. Just write down the 5 people that you spend the most time with. And that doesn't have to be local. That can just be the, you know, people that you talk to the most. Okay. What I want you to do is guess. I mean, obviously, if you're close enough to them, you can ask them. But go ahead and guess. And you can do this afterwards. But once we're done, you can go and figure out what their salaries are, what they make on average. Okay. And you take what they make and you average them together, and I bet you it's going to be very close to what you're making right now. And why I want you to do that is because this business is not all about money, so don't get it twisted. But what I want you to know is that this business is about the journey of who you become, okay? The money is really great, and that's why I joined. Trust me, I was like, can I just get my hair and nails done? I just need my hair and nails done. I just want $500 like a month. And I didn't even let myself think that any more than that was possible because I was scared that if I thought that and I didn't get it, I didn't want to be disappointed. So what self-development does is it allows you to dream again. It reaffirms why you are doing this. It reaffirms that you have your own mind and you are the only person holding yourself back. So what I want all of you guys to do right now is make a decision. Just make a decision that you're going to be successful, and you will be. If you make that decision and you stop making it an option to be successful because you're scared of counting on yourself too much, once you make that decision, you will be so successful with this business and you will make paychecks you didn't even know was possible. I promise you. But you have to make that decision, and it's scary. And you're thinking right now, I don't even know what we're selling. And I didn't either, you guys. I remember pressing submit and I was like, okay, what does this thing do? It like tightens and like tones. And yeah, one of my friends, I was talking to her about it and she's like, oh, I thought you were talking about like a wrap you eat. And I was like, oh God, Jesus Christ, Lord help us. But just know that we were all there. We all started with 0 BV, with 0 distributors, with 0 loyal customers. And the way that you become better and the way that you make this journey about the long run and not the short run is that you make it about becoming a better person and allow what God has in store for you once you do that. Once you just let yourself become a better person, you do that through self-development, you will be so surprised to what you can do in this business. You will surprise yourself. And what self-development does not have to look like is it doesn't have to look like, I'm just going to sit here and I'm just going to read this and I'm just going to do this for 15 minutes. Okay. That's not what my self-development looks like. I like have a squirrel brain. Some might call it ADHD, but I prefer squirrel. So what I like to do is I will either get the book on audio book, or I will listen to YouTube. YouTube is free. Okay. So we can't say that we don't want to invest in a book. But YouTube is free. And what I would do is Eric Thomas is an amazing person to start with if you don't know anybody else. He does these things called TGIMs, Thank God It's Monday, and they're like 7 to 10 minute motivational like little things, that snippets that he does. And what I want you guys to do is go type in just a motivational playlist or a motivational speech or something like that. There's a 2-hour one on YouTube that I found that I listen to at 15-minute segments. Okay. So just do 15 minutes of it a day. And just do it on your way to work. Do it while you're putting your makeup on. Do it while you're folding laundry. Do it while you're doing the dishes. It does not have to be something where you're just sitting there and reading if you don't have time. Because you guys are probably all working full time, or your just life is chaos and you're trying to figure out how this business is going to fit into it. And so what I encourage you to do is don't ever let a mindless task go without you doing something else. And that something else can always be self-development. If you're like, I don't know what I can do at this point, it needs to be self-development, okay? Because the times that you don't think you need it are the times that you actually need it the most, okay? Because I was at the point where I used to do it only when I felt like I needed it, like only after those no's came or only after somebody had made a negative comment, I would just go listen to it. But what I want you to do is I want you to do it consistently every single day, because if you just do it when you need it, you're going to get your tank filled back up and then it's going to come back down, right? And then you're always going to have this same stopping point where you feel good. But what happens is if you do it every single day, this point gets higher, and that's when you starts to become a better person. Okay. So make sure that you're just doing it 15 minutes every day. And if you commit 15 minutes to yourself every single day, watch your business explode. That's all I have to say. Sorry, it was really long, but I just had to get it out.
It's okay. It's all right. You are incredible. And I just want to take a minute. Like, every single leader on here is like freaking incredible. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, all of you like blow my mind every single time I hear you talk. But we have 2 more like panels. And I'm so excited. We're going to hear back from Kelsey on Silly Deal, but for right now, we're going to talk with Kirsten, and she's going to tell us. I'm going to unmute you really quick. Let me know if you can you hear me?
Hello?
Hi.
Hello.
Okay. So we are going to talk about charting for Ruby. And this is something, y'all, when I first started, I didn't even know what a chart was. I was like, what is a chart? what is executive, what is Ruby, and I didn't know. And even if you do know, I think this is beneficial because these are some of the things that maybe we just look over. So, Kirsten, I'm going to ask you, I have some questions here. I want you to show us like what a Ruby chart looks like and how easy it can be and not complicated it can be to like fill one out.
Yes, definitely. So first things first, either make your own, print it out, it's in your eSuite, or laminate one. When you print one out, you're going to make a lot of copies of it because you're going to get messed up. It's going to go all crazy. Always have those on hand. You need to be able to, wherever you're looking, get to it because that chart's going to be changing often, but you want to keep on top of it because you don't want to go a few days not looking at it and then scrambling when you might need to. You know, I have multiples laminated, and I have multiples in my binder for my teammates. It's so important to stay organized. And it's funny that I'm saying that because if you look at my desk, it's not an organized, it's an organized mess. But you know, get these. I know when I got mine laminated, Office Max or something like that had like a 40% off discount or a coupon. So have that chart in front of you at all times. I'm actually going to share my screen with you guys so you just have a clear vision of what the Ruby chart looks like. So give me a second. Desktop, share screen. I'm going to start with a blank one, and then I'm going to show you one somewhat filled in. So
First, can you guys see it?
Well, it's loading on my end.
Okay, good.
My internet sucks here. Also get good internet, that helps. There's the color wheel. Looking out. Let me know when you can see it.
It says that you've started screen sharing, but I don't see. Okay, there you go. Found it.
Perfect. So this is one that is completely blank. You've got 5 boxes. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You'll hear a lot about your top line. Well, obviously, this is your top line. Each box represents a distributor. So this can be, you know, any 5 people that you can think of that you want to kind of do this with and work together with. Those are your 5 people. I'm going to show you your 5 people. Just a second. Here we go. So here you got your spouse, your best friend, and your cousin. That's on your top line. And this is just example, so you can mix and match however you want. I'm just trying to make it very simple. Spouse, best friend, cousin. So whoever you want to make your executive or whoever, you know, takes off with this business, you'll want to have your team, how do I say this? You want to have your executive have 2 people below them. So in this case, I'm doing a mom and a sister. So my spouse's mom and my spouse's sister, or my sister, you get the picture. So each one of those boxes represents a distributor. You see on the bottom, 400 GV. 400 GV represents the group volume or the volume of that person. That allows you, that could be your sales. So your loyal customers or their loyal customers, their personal sales, their personal orders. It's also really important to have your team. You're going to hear my dog freaking out real quick. Stop it. It's really important to have your team be commission qualified. So Cameron, can you get rid of Shooter, please? I can't. I'm already freaking out and nervous about this. So the biggest thing is having each one of those people be commission qualified by running an auto shipment. When you go to your eSuite, if you're like, what the heck is GV and how do I find it? Here's a great way to do it. So you log into your eSuite, you go up to reports. This is how I do it. Everyone does it differently, but you'll find what works for you. I go to volume total by distributor, and that shows me the group volume. So it's laid out just like that. Let's see, I'm going to stop sharing real quick. So it's super, super simple. And you'll realize that, what makes diamonds are rubies. So it's all about building rubies and becoming, having as many rubies on your team as possible. And let's see. You'll want each one of those boxes at 400 GV. So you got 5 distributors on your team. You have a team right there. There is your team. There is your starting point. And you just help, do that, get your team to 400 GV. And I think the biggest thing is making sure you are keeping track of your charts.
Yeah.
It's no one else's responsibility. We are here, your upline or anyone around you is here to help you, but not be responsible for your team. So,
I love that. You did an amazing job, because I was like, what is a Ruby chart? Like, I had no idea. Like, when I first joined, I didn't get my first customer until 2 weeks in. I went Ruby my first month. So y'all, you can do it. Just keep your chart wherever you go. Like, I literally have one in my fridge. I have one in my car. Thank you.
And even though, we're not responsible for your chart, constantly ask questions because we don't want you to mess up. There's been times where I'm like, oh my gosh, what do I do? Or I'm like, why did I do that? Because I didn't talk to my upline, which is Taylor, or I didn't seek some help. Now, asking for help is huge because you don't want to make the wrong decision. You work with yourself. Don't make it harder than what it is. Just ask questions, and it doesn't have to be a mess.
Thank you so much for sharing all of that. I am super thankful that you hopped on and made it all easy for everybody. A visual, it was great. Okay, Kelsey, let me make sure I can unmute you. So,
hello.
We are gonna end it with a bang. We are about to talk about sealing the deal. That's what we're about to do right now. We're about to seal this deal, and we are going to talk about sealing the deal with loyals and distributors. And I'm super pumped because I feel like you are the queen of sealing the deal. So have some questions.
I don't know about that, but I appreciate it. Yeah, and you guys, please feel free to ask questions in the chat too if you have any, because you're probably feeling a little bit overwhelmed, and know that's totally normal, because we try to make it as simple as possible, but it's like learning a new language, once you get it, you get it. but until then, there's a little bit of growing pains, and everybody's been there before, but there is so much waiting on the other side. So just be thankful for that. So when it comes to sealing the deal, there's a couple tips that I have as far as distributors, because that's probably the most intimidating for the most people. When it comes to signing distributors, you have to feel ready. Okay. You can't and if you don't feel ready, I'm not going to sit here and tell you to fake it, but faith it until you make it. Have faith that you can be a good leader. And that is probably the biggest thing when it comes to signing distributors. You have to know that you have something that you can bring to the table. Okay. That you are welcoming people into your team because you can help them. And you have to truly believe that before you will sign anybody, because there will come a time when you're like, oh my gosh, I don't really know what I'm doing, but I want you on my team, and people can sense that. So what you want to do is just be really confident, because that confidence, people are attracted to that, because our world is full of insecure people, and everybody has their own insecurities, right? But we don't want to let those insecurities control our actions. So what we want to do is we just want to make sure that we are telling our people, our mind and our team members, but even mostly our mind, positive things. So what I encourage you to do is do positive affirmations. This ties in with self-development, but this is how I seal the deal. I'm going to be really honest with you guys. Is that doing positive affirmations? I literally tell people, I tell myself every day, I'm a mass enroller for distributors. I am going to sign 20 customers a month. I will tell myself that stuff, and then I start to believe it. And it's crazy because your mind scientifically cannot tell a difference between what is reality and what you're telling it. And so it will start doing actions to make what you're telling it true. Okay. So make sure you are telling yourself, I am going to sign a distributor this week, or whatever your goals are. Just make sure that you are telling yourself and you're being positive and having confidence that you can bring something to the table. The other thing I have when it comes to sealing the deal with distributors is making sure that, and they touched on it earlier, but just making sure that you are really understanding why they want to join. I know when I first started, I was like, gosh, I don't even have a success story yet. Like, why would people want to join with me? They haven't seen my proven success. But people are attracted to what you put out into the universe. So if you say, you know, like, I'm going to get a diamond bonus. Like, I would tell people be like, what rank are you? Or like, how much success? I'm like, oh, I'm earning a $10,000 bonus. I'm about to get $10,000. Like, I was like one person on my team at that point, but they didn't know. And the reason I'm telling you that is not, I'm not trying to get you to lie, so please don't take it like that. But what I'm saying is I was speaking that into existence, okay? I was speaking that that was going to happen, and I was saying I am going to get a $10,000 bonus with or without you. And that is still kind of how I feel. It's like, you know what? Like, I want you on my team because I want to help you, but at the end of the day, you have to want to help yourself. And that's what you will realize in this business is that there is not a brain cell in every single person to do this business. And your job is to just help change a perspective. So the worst thing you can do when somebody starts like, you know, asking you questions is to get defensive. What I try to do every single time I get a question of like, oh, is this a pyramid scheme? Or, oh, is this one of those things? Is just say to them, that is so funny you said that, because I literally thought the same thing before I joined. Because we probably all did. Like, we were like, oh gosh, are we going to get scammed? Like, I remember feeling that way. I was like, oh God, even when I pressed submit, I was like, I really hope this works. And I hope that I don't lose all my money from this scam. But just be relatable and know that like you felt that way at one point. Instead of getting defensive, be understanding. And people will relate to that so much more. And you can say, you know what? I felt that exact same way. It's so funny you say that, and then educate them. Educate them and educate yourself, more importantly. Know why we aren't a pyramid scheme. Know why we, you know, are the best network marketing company out there. Know what we have to bring to the table. And just so you guys know off the bat, 3 reasons that I tell every single potential why I join, and you guys can steal these if you want. Number 1 is we have a product nobody else has, so you don't have to be a salesperson because the product sells itself, okay? You can't go get it at Walgreens. You can't go get it at Walmart. The second thing I tell people is, and the second reason I joined is because all of our products are really reasonably priced. Everything is between $15 and $60 about a month. You're not asking people to break a bank or spend half their rent on it. All you're asking them to do is not go out to eat once a month and get healthier. The other thing, the last reason I said is because we're a debt-free Christian-based company. Now, this wasn't as important to me when I first joined, but it became more important to me because what I realized is that we don't never going to be in threat of going out of business. Our company has the same values that I have. So no matter if you're a Christian, Buddhist, atheist, whatever, to know that there is a moral foundation with the business, it is huge because people want to know that they're not going to wake up and look in the Better Business Bureau and see a bad report from It Works or whatever the case might be, because knowing that our leadership, like this is still a family-owned business. And in network marketing, that's dang near impossible to find. So what I want you guys to do is just start educating yourself on and really making yourself keep believing in the company, because that will exude when you talk to people. And in order for get you somebody else to believe in the company, you have to fully believe in it. So whatever that takes, you guys have to do it. So for me, what it was just learning. Okay. And don't ever stop learning. So what I do is when I first started, before I would go to work, because I worked full time and I had a 5-month-old. So I understand not having time. I get that. What I did is each morning I would just listen to Zooms. I would listen to recorded YouTubes, whatever it was. And I would just listen. And it was just like the mindless stuff, like I said, of self-development. And that can be your self-development, okay? Listening and getting your mind and sharpening your mind on what the products, you should recommend, what people are saying about, how to post, all these things, learning, because these resources are at your fingertips, okay? You can be successful in this business without ever having any upline, because there are so many YouTube videos about how you can be successful. And honestly, Erin's an amazing leader and I've learned so much from her, and she's always there to answer my questions. But I'll be honest, I've learned 95% of my stuff on YouTube, because I just went out and found it myself. Not because she wouldn't answer or wouldn't help me, but I just wanted to find out for myself. And you might love the person that you signed with, but you might relate even better to somebody on YouTube that you listen to. So just be open to having all these different resources and avenues to be more educated on what you're doing. Okay. The other thing on sealing deal with LCs, you need to make sure you are using the products. You need to make sure that you don't think that you need to use every single product before you recommend it. Let me tell you the analogy that I use. Have you ever gone to a restaurant that just opened? You went to a restaurant and you tried a meal and it was fire. Like, it was so good. You were like, you ate way too much. The next day you went and like told all of your friends, you're like, oh my gosh, have you tried La Hacienda? That place is amazing. Like, their margarita was so good. Like, oh my gosh, it was so good. Those people didn't even ask what you got, and you just recommended it. So they might go there and get a totally different meal, but might have an amazing experience too. Here's the reason, because if you get one meal and you try it, the quality of that food is so good. It's the same thing with our products, you guys. The quality, if you try one product, if you try the wrap and that crap worked and you lost 2.5 inches and you were like, holy heck, I thought this was going to work on everybody but me, but it just worked on me. And I have to tell my friends about it. And they start asking about fat fighters. You know what? Go look on our team pages and find a before and after picture of the fat fighters and say, you know what? I haven't tried the fat fighters yet, but I cannot wait because look how well these wraps works. But look at my girls' results on these fat fighters. They were bomb. Look at that. And all she used was fat fighters. These are $25. You seriously need to get some. How does that sound in comparison to, I haven't tried them yet. I'll let you know when I do though. Like, it's not even a comparison. So what you need to do is you need to just get it out of your head that you have to try every single product, because you don't. And what you need to do is you need to try one or a couple that fit with your lifestyle and believe in them and get those results yourself. And one thing that I heard the other day that was like, it hit home with me because I'm not very good about this, but because I've tried a ton of our products, but I'm not very consistent. And it said, you know, be the customer that you want. And we always talk about being the distributor that you want, right? Like being coachable and being all these things, but it said be the customer that you want and go through 90 days of the product and see what happens. And I was like, yes, like that is so true. And I need to do it too. Like, I'm guilty of it too, where I'm like, oh yeah, the wraps worked. I tried 2 of them instead of completing a full box and seeing what happened. Or I'm doing a 90-day wrap challenge or doing a triple threat challenge or whatever. And so commit to whatever your health goal is and make sure that you are proud of being a part of a health and wellness company. Don't be ashamed by the way you look. If you have products at your hands that can help you with whatever your problems are, okay? Be a representative of the company. So just make sure that if you have problems with acne, maybe you might be the skinniest person in the world, but you have acne. We have stuff for that. Maybe you might be the skinniest person in the world and you don't need anything for weight loss, but you need to be healthier. Get some greens. Talk about how much more energy you have. Whatever the case might be, those are things that are just suggestions. So being a product of the product is a huge deal with sealing the deal with LCs. And then the last thing is the Facebook Messenger event reminder I want to go over because that literally changed my business. So when you are following up with somebody, this was like my biggest fear because I didn't want to be one of those pesky salesmen when I first started. And so I was like, well, when do I follow up with them? Like, how long do I wait? If they said they were interested and I sent them my website, like, how long do I wait? And so I never leave the conversation with, let me know. Never say those words again, like completely take them out of your vocabulary. What you need to do is you need to say, when should I follow up with you? Or you just decide when you should. So if they're texting you today on Thursday, you say, that's fine, girl. I'm gonna follow up with you on Saturday around noon. Does that work? They say yes. And Facebook, I wonder if I can pull this up right now. Let me see. I'm gonna message you on them. You probably already have one from the last time we talked about this. Okay, so when you do this, it says, I've just messaged her Saturday at noon, ? And then see how it's underlined? Okay, so I click that underline and it will say, start a plan. And it will just say Saturday at noon. And I will just select that time. And if it's not the time, they say no, like 1 o'clock works better. And then you guys will both get reminded an hour before it tilters down on them because it's like layered. Yeah. There you go. So we'll both get reminded and we both see the notification. So that way you don't feel annoying, but you actually feel like you're not a good business person if you don't follow up with them. Okay. So don't ever, like, if they're interested in the product, you guys don't feel bad for following up. You're doing your job. It would actually be more of a shame if you didn't follow up. So don't ever let somebody make you feel annoying because they're the ones that are annoying if they don't respond to you because you set that event reminder. So always keep the ball in your court and keep control of the conversation. That was like a game changer for me when I started doing, instead of saying, let me know, I would be like, oh gosh. And I would forget about those people. And like these people, if that event reminder did not pop up on Facebook, I would forget about them. Like sometimes I'm like, oh my God, thank God that the alarm went off. And so that's the same thing. So always make sure you're setting the next conversation up. Don't leave it with a let me know, because they will never let you know. Not because they don't want it, but just because it's not the priority.
That literally changed my business. That's how I got to Double Diamond, y'all. The event set reminder. And I share it with my team all the time. Like, you've got to do that. It's absolutely incredible. So one last thing, because we're getting a little late. These Zooms like always last so long because there's so much information, and I love it. I love every second of it. So one last question for you, Kelsey, because I know this is a big part of your business, big part of mine too. What about the fear of getting on the phone and sealing the deal, or the fear of getting on a FaceTime, and how that can be so beneficial and not drag it out?
Yeah. Okay. So Michelle did a Zoom with my team yesterday, and I'm like so inspired by it. So I'm like going to say it, but it might be like literally a little bit too much. So just take it with a grain of salt. So what she said was, think about like the person that you love the most. Okay. And think about that person, and just think about, you know what, if you didn't promote to Ruby, or if you did not get that person would die. And that sounds like so crazy. And I'm not like trying to be morbid or anything, but like, think about it like that. Like, think about there is like a life on the line. Like, you would get on the phone with people. Okay. Not only, and here are the benefits to getting on the phone. The benefits to getting on the phone are that it's a time saver, because if you have kids, this is especially important for you, because you can actually still watch your kids while you're talking on the phone, and you can kind of still manage them. But when you are texting, your head is down and you are very unengaged. Whereas like if I'm talking on the phone, like I can talk on the phone and kind of like play trucks or whatever I'm doing. So that's a huge thing. The other thing is when getting on the phone, they can feel your excitement. Not only do they feel your excitement, but because you have to be excited when you get on the phone, you're going to excite yourself. Like whenever I do these Zooms, I get so pumped up myself. And I come more recharged than you guys probably do, because it's like, I'm pumping myself up. Like I'm talking to myself 90% of the time that I'm doing these things. So it helps me. And so when you have to talk to somebody about why you joined, and you have to share your reason about why you joined and talk to them about the business and how amazing it is, you are just telling yourself that stuff as well. So that is the reason why talking on the phone is so important. But you also want to know that if you can't get on the phone with that person, then how are you going to build a real relationship with them? Like, these are relationships that we have in this business are so authentic. And if that person is going to be a business partner of yours, you need to have an authentic relationship with them. Don't be intimidated. What's the worst they can do? You're not going to die. Like, if you get on the phone with them, now your first phone conversation might be shot to heck, and you might be like, oh my gosh, that was horrible. But you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. Okay. So yeah, you might have said some like weird stuff, and you're like, where did I even go with that? Like, I have no idea what just happened on that phone conversation. I totally blacked out. Like, I did that all the time. I'll be like, I don't even know what I just said. And sometimes I do this on the Zooms, which might have happened today already. I'm not sure. But you just have to realize that getting on the phone, it's going to help them. And that's why we're in this business, is to help other people. But it's also going to help you. You can go ahead and end on why you get on the phone too.
Okay, so we're going to end it at this, because I know some people are like, okay, this is over an hour. But there's so many tips. And I just wanted to add, like, y'all, when I was going Double Diamond, I was like 5,000 GB away. And I know that you guys are like, okay, 5,000 GB, wow. That's pretty much like Ruby. And I had like 5 days to get it. And I really was like, oh my gosh. So I needed something that was going to shorten the time really quick. And just like she said, it shortened the time extremely. Y'all, when we message people, we could be messaging people for like 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, and it could just go on and on and on. When you get somebody on the phone, they have to reply to you. They have to say, okay, like, this is how this sounds. And y'all, when I'm on the phone with, let's just say it's a distributor, if they tell me that they're interested in this business, I waste no time, y'all. I get them on the FaceTime. I set up the FaceTime either that day, the next day, or sometime this week. And I don't waste any time. Like, I just, when I get on the FaceTime, and I'm sure that some of you are wondering, well, what do you say? Like, when you get on the phone, like, what do you say? And what it is I get them on the phone, and I just say, tell me a little bit why it works is interesting to you. Like, what would it work through for you? Like what would help you? And so they get to tell me their why. It opens up their trust with me. They're telling me why they need this business, if it's making extra money or if it's like finding new friends, whatever it is, they're going to be telling me that. So that builds trust, and they get to know me. I get to know them, and I get to use that. I get to say, well, when they're feeling scared and they're feeling worried, I get to say, hey, but what about, you've got to save for this house that your family needs. And so whenever you're talking with somebody over FaceTime, look, you get to see my expression. You get to see how passionate I am about this. It's not like you're over Messenger, like typing out these like very short messages that you're feeling uneasy about. And, text messages can be like interpreted so many ways. When you're on the phone, they get to hear your personality, your tone. You get to actually know each other. And I can promise you they are more likely going to be able to sign with you on the dot rather than a message. It's going to take them a lot longer. And so when you're just really shorting the time, and you're just, building a relationship from the get-go. And with loyal customers, you already have it in their cart. Like, you're going to be talking to them about the products, talking about how amazing the products are, talking about your sister who's used the products. You get to talk about all of those things right then and there. And I really, really recommend getting on the phone to seal the deal. But we are going to end this out. My baby is crying in the background. She's tired. She's ready for bed, ready for mom to put her to bed. So thank you guys so much for jumping on. I just applaud all of you for getting on tonight, whether, you're doing other things or you just have us sitting up right here just listening. That is the first step to being successful in this business, is to show up on these Zooms and to be able to learn and just, build your business that way. So I'm just so excited for every single one of you. I wish the best for all of you. If your upline's on here, if you have questions, I'm sure you can be able to reach out to them. But this recording will be up soon. Thanks everybody for jumping on, and I so appreciate it. Bye y'all.